intentions or resolutions. Those are mental constructs. The spirit being in you doesn't understand those. The spirit being in you understands you from your heart, and only through your heart, how you feel about something. The level of fulfillment, the level of love, truth, freedom, happiness, that can be understood by the spirit being in you. It thrives on that. It doesn't want to do anything more than support you on this endeavor. Welcome to the energy update for week 3. That is the 15th till the 21st of January 2022. You noticed this, right? I have an issue with dates. That's because the energies that I read out aren't really going by dates, but I have to kind of put it into a structure. So week by week, I guess, works for us. Welcome, everybody. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm an energy coach, energy healer, and energy therapist, and I offer tools that help us to get to know ourselves better on a deeper level, and that allow us to explore and discover the unseen aspects of our being, including our higher consciousness and spirituality. And here on Skype Live, we do daily online meditations, free for everybody, so please check this out. Yeah, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to learn how to meditate, how to do this with others. If you're not really finding the time to schedule this into your life, maybe you find it more motivating to do this together with others and talk a little bit about this. On Fridays, I do the collective energy updates with a few tips, and this week here is a bit of a game changer for all of us, guys. It's expect the unexpected, as I called it. It's more or less like a gear change, okay? So this will feel very weird to you, because on the inside, everything will feel like it's slowing down, almost like in slow motion. And on the outside, it's just going to go bam, bam, bam. And perhaps it's a little bit of a protection mechanism where we, when we feel overwhelmed and there's so much intensity and so many new revelations and so many new situations that we have to deal with, that we kind of go within and review and reassess and reevaluate. And there is something about our inner energies in that sort of slower pace, yeah? So we have to kind of pace ourselves out a bit, where we can actually get a lot of support, a lot of guidance. And it's very, very interesting here in this week. Maybe some of you energetically sensitives and empaths have already felt this. It's like a blast from the past right now. There's so much going on that has to do with our past. Sometimes in relationship to our parents, for example, or even old relationship partners coming forward. And the way this support that I just mentioned comes to us, guys, it's not necessarily just on the outside. It's also from the inside. It's in our dreams and visions. Yeah, and there's a lot here that we are supposed to review. And reviewing, guys, doesn't mean regurgitating, doesn't mean, well, it can mean revisiting, but it means to look at it from a, say, larger or higher vantage point, and to put the puzzle pieces together. And obviously it helps if we have some kind of discipline or some kind of system in place for ourselves to actually do this. So this is why pretty much everybody throughout history has kind of suggested some kind of routine for us, like daily meditation or daily contemplation, daily nature walks, where we can digest and metabolize what is going on. And I tell you why you want to really do this now, because these next 3 years, guys, are going to be massive as far as like the change that they're bringing to our collective, which means we are in the midst of witnessing one of the greatest and most rapid changes our our species has experienced, at least from what we know, what is reported. And there's a reason why you're here, and there's a purpose to your being here, yeah, and experiencing this in this more conscious way. Never forget that. So it is only natural, if you think about it, and you see yourself as an energetic being, yeah, as a spirit being, maybe, if you will, that has a 3D experience, that your spirit being, your energetic existence is, well, your true existence, and that the 3D experience, which we can, I think, all agree on, is rather limited, yeah, is only a small part, if not just a fleeting moment in our whole entire sort of record of existence. And if that is the case, guys, it really makes sense to go and connect with this part in us that can actually inform us about this higher and even higher or broader vantage point. Why are we here? Why are we here right now? What is my role? What do I or can I bring into expression here that increases, say, the quality of my life, the quality of other people's lives, that impacts, yeah, the overall consciousness on this planet? Yeah, this is sort of the background to our own inner reflections and what truly wants to come to closure. So when we look at change, our ego naturally gets scared, guys, because our ego does not want change. It doesn't matter what you believe, that you're open and flexible and all that. Your ego will always work against it, and that's not because the ego is mean or dark or anything like that. The ego's job is to maintain things the way they were, basically, because it becomes more predictable for you. There's less unknowns if you're familiar, if you were used to something, and this is what's basically in the way now, because what these changes bring in here for us personally as well as in our society, well, they aren't predictable, they aren't really experienced before, it's uncharted territory, and so you're going to have to be willing to go through this transformation yourself. And it appears, just out of my own experience here as being an energy coach for people from all over the world for so long, that there's a reason why people develop higher levels of awareness, or why they have these awakening experiences, say, earlier than others. It's because they have, they need to have more time to prepare for this, and maybe, this is up to your own conclusion, so that they can be of assistance for others when, this awakening happens in a more, say, collective manner, when there's more people awakening at the same time, as we are really seeing right now. So I predicted in the forecast that right around the 18th of January, that's only a few days from now, which also is the full moon here. So we talk about lunar cycles, all cycles really, but not so much like astrology does, but kind of related in a way as something that impacts the human psyche. And there's other aspects that even those of you who are not really that familiar with astrology, but have, I'm sure, heard Mercury retrograde going on, that kind of leads to setting things up or setting the stage up for certain things. And the interesting part here about this full moon is that it's actually kind of atypical, because it brings in 180-degree change. I suggested or assumed that it was around COVID politics, around the COVID situation. This would coincide with my scientific observation that we are literally hitting a time here where the whole sort of tension and fear around COVID will be released, can be let go of, as the numbers are beginning to slow down. Yes, guys, this imminent perception of threat, through the coronavirus after 2 years now is starting to wane. All right, and this then automatically leads to focus more toward Well, obviously, where are we going to go from here? But also, wait a minute, how do we how did we get here? Yeah? What brought us here? And what were some of the things that went well? And what were some of the things that didn't go that well? And here's a little bit of a hint for you as far as your own personal processes is concerned. Because you're supposed to ask yourself the same question. Just not in the way that you have done this in the past, with beating yourself up and, focusing on all the regrets and all the things that you didn't do and all the things that you think you're not good enough yet. Yeah, all that is wasted energy, guys, because the situation is going to be new. Who cares? All right, there are some things, obviously, that you as a true self carry with you. You know what you've done and what you haven't done. You know when you could trust in yourself and when you couldn't. You knew when you were violating your own integrity, when you made compromises that compromised you. You know this, and you're going to have to live with this. But there's a way to live with this when you take accountability for it and you say, okay, at the time, I could not see this. At the time, I could not understand this how I see this today. Today is a different day. I see this from a different perspective right now. And therefore, I cannot really apply all these ideals, and these things that I kind of made up, 10 years or 20 years or 30 or 40 years ago when I was still a child, how I thought things would be. Yeah, this is the ego in us. Yeah, it's kind of childish in this way. Yeah, it kind of always goes back to the ideal, and you won't be able to keep up with this. You won't be able to, really operate in this way. It's no longer aligned to who you truly are today. So one of my tips for you, as there are so many for this week, is accept limitations. Accept that there are certain things that you sort of fantasized or idealized, that you hoped and dreamed of when you were younger, were simply not, or are simply not coming to fruition simply because the situation has changed. All right, and in that accepting of these limitations, which sometimes appear as a tragedy or a drama, but later turn out as what we've called a true self-intervention last month, where there is something, a lesson or a learning in that letting go of things that are no longer aligned to you, that we couldn't see at the time, that then later have led us to finding new ways, finding higher expressions of who we are. A very good example, and that's significant for this next week, it has to do with career, has to do with business, with jobs, with how you make your living. So for the next, I want to say 3 years, guys, this will be one of the leading energies moving us forward, namely rethinking and reevaluating how we want to live our life, and that includes, of course, how we make our living and whom we want to live it with. In other words, money and relationships. Those are the two main topics here, and the one thing that is fundamentally different from how it was before is that all these social values around money and around relationships will drastically shift and change here, coming into this new era, this new paradigm of seeing ourselves as more than just sort of a bag of flesh, a material 3D being, but as this energetic being, that has many more dimensions to it than just the physical, emotional, and mental reality. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, because you guys have already been interested in this and have been studying, these energetic, these unseen aspects of yourself, and you have already accepted that as part of your new reality. Now comes the time to be pragmatic, though. All right, so I know that most of you are fully aligned with what their energy being, the spirit being in them is trying to communicate. But I also know that many of you still struggle with really putting this into action. And this is the game changer, the gear shift, that is coming in here now with this third week of January. You have to expect the unexpected. In other words, you have to use your foresight, your vision, your alignment, all right, to prepare yourself to accept that your ego is kind of slow and inert, and that you have this laziness in you that just wants the shortcut, and doesn't really want to face the unknown, doesn't really want to choose a path that is uncomfortable. You're going to have to accept that as part of your human condition. All right, it's not your energetic condition, but it is your 3D condition, which means that things might go a lot slower than you have envisioned them. But that doesn't mean that they are not coming into manifestation. It just means that you get more time to adjust, and that is the challenge here for this next week. Because the changes are so rapid, it requires us to be really flexible and open-minded, because what the main theme truly is here, on a collective as well as personal level, and especially our relationship level, is to liberate ourselves from what is no longer true to us, what has in actuality disempowered us all along without us being fully aware of it. You could basically put everything karmic, everything traumatic into this category. All the things and the repeats and the coping patterns that you've developed out of this just to be able to make it through. All right, those were, for the most part, disempowering things. Because if your life's goal is to just make it through, to just survive life, how are you aligning to your true self, to your energetic spirit being in you? If you just focus on surviving. This is your ego's paradigm. And along with your ego's paradigm of surviving come those parameters, avoiding pain and seeking pleasure. How can you manifest a life in truth? How can you manifest a relationship in truth? How can you manifest a job or activity that you truly love, that you do because you love it and you want to bring yourself into expression? How can you do that if you are still listening to your ego at the same time? So that confliction, guys, that we all carry in us, that duality, is obviously the challenge throughout the whole entire 3D life. But this is where the higher vantage point comes in. It allows you to recognize what these patterns do for you. It's not that all of the patterns are bad for us. Some of these survival patterns, these coping patterns that we have developed, or that we were forced to develop, actually a big part of our strengths and talents right now. They made us stronger. But some of them have clearly disempowered us. For example, issues around self-worth, self-esteem, not feeling good enough, not feeling like you deserve, or you deserve being loved even, okay? This is probably the undercurrent in 90% of people out there, including 90% of you guys. This is what needs to be shifted around. And this unexpected support that you get from the spirit world, so to speak, from the unseen, which includes your own spirit being, your own higher self, that can only be found if you actually go into truth with yourself and allow this to unfold. So part of accepting limitations is always also accepting the pace of things, accepting that things need some more time sometimes to unfold, and it can only happen if we do our part. Our part is to actually facilitate this through going within, through connecting with our heart, with our true self, and forming a routine, cultivating this reflection time, this contemplation time into our daily lives. All right, the challenge that you guys all have is that we're literally stepping into the unknown here as a collective and as an individual. There are no guarantees. And you're going to have to really know what you can trust in. And there's the problem. If you have been externalizing your values and your truth to outside values, to things that came in from the outside, from your critical voice even, or your family or your nation's values, you might be in trouble here in these next weeks to come, because there's so much changing and so much chaos around those values and what it is that we stand for, that we want to stand for, that it will be difficult to trust in anything. And so the only thing that is left to trust in is your own industry, is your own ability to figure things out as you go, is your own integrity, your own values, the unchanging parts of you. The parts of you that have been accompanying you, not just in this 3D life, but in your whole entire record of existing. And I cannot tell you what those are. I can tell you what they are for the majority of us beings. But you have to consciously choose them. You have to consciously will, based on your own insights, on your power of consciousness, to wanting to discover this, to wanting to explore it. Those who seek me will find me. If you are seeking truth, you will find it, but it is not in the result of finding it or the outcome of finding it. It is in the decision, in the choice to seek. That is where your consciousness evolves into its higher expression, and with that you're giving yourself the opportunity to manifest yourself into a higher expression, your higher potential, if you will. But it requires discipline, guys, and it requires courage. And you can no longer go about things like job and relationships and money in the way you have done this in the past, by counting on things or taking things for granted. No, you're going to have to be very, very clear in your communication. What it is that you need, what you want, and then you're going to have to ask for feedback. What did you hear me say? Are we agreeing on this? Let's summarize what it is that we're trying to do here together. You have to really be clear and discipline yourself to refrain from this filling in the gaps. That's your ego, guys. Filling in the gaps, with assumptions and guessing and double guessing and questioning yourself, and that's what has led to your perception issues. This free-floating anxiety, as they call this in mass formation psychosis research, that forms the foundation for our will and our insight and our intellectual capacity to be hijacked, to be mind controlled. So remember this, guys. What is it that you can truly rely on? What is it that defines you in your essence? It's not your job or your job title or your house or, I don't know, the number of kids or the number of books you have or have read. No. It is, yes, exactly, it's your true self. It's how you go about things, how you see the world and how you see life. This is about your life view that is changing, guys, and that's huge. So be okay with things feeling like they're moving slowly, because this perceived slowness, this internal slowness, is needed to digest all of that. Lay low. Be okay with laying low. I call this integration time. But be precise in your communication, inner and outer, with others and yourself. And special message or special tip for some of you here, yeah, rather large group of you. Review your balance of giving and receiving in life. You know, while you're at it, while you are looking at life view and your world view, yeah, how have you been handling this in the past? Are you able to say, I need help? Are you able to receive? Are you open to receiving help? You know, many of you come from New Age originally and then evolved here through this consciousness work. And you have something in common, and that is that, you know, the thing that connects you is that you really, truly feel and believe in being of service to others. Yeah, and you believe that healing is a process that when done together, that it becomes synergetic, that it becomes more than just the sum of its parts. And I agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. But it doesn't mean that you become a better person or that you will feel better about yourself if you only give and don't receive. Remember, balance means balance. And if there is an imbalance in your life between giving and receiving, being of service to others, and actually heeding your own needs and wants, investing in yourself, in your self-love, in your own future, guys. Self-love is an investment into your own future. It prevents diseases, astral distortions in your energy body that can lead to physical, emotional, and mental illnesses. Yeah, when you realize that, it's not so hard to figure out what you need to change. So this is my second tip. Slow down, look at the balance in your life, and be open to receiving. Ask for help. And this is then what helps you build trust with your partner, with your relationship. And maybe you find out that you really can't rely on your partner, that your partner isn't really there for you, that he or she never really was, that it was all about her own self-gain, and in the moment that you are actually asking for something, they're not reciprocating. Face that. Face your fear of rejection. Because, trust me, in the times to come, you don't want to be with people like that. That's no longer aligned to your values, to your integrity. It's a good riddance, guys. You have to bring it to that point. You have to be willing to weed out the things that are disempowering for you. And as I have written this 7 years ago, you know, describing this new paradigm and what it actually means, you have to begin to understand yourself as an energetic being composed out of at least 5 dimensions, you know, the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and etheric, and recognize, okay, that, you know, the spiritual, the etheric, the astral, that those are the true levels of your existence. But when you're in 3D, obviously you're going to have to be pragmatic and deal with what is. And this duality in us, this conflict between, you know, idealization and perfectionism on some degree, and pragmatism, to combined with the knowingness, that all that doesn't even matter anyway in the bigger scope of things. That's what needs to be harmonized. That is what our awakening is about. So awakening we defined as basically the development, the conscious development of your higher perception. You have to choose it for yourself. This isn't an outer process. This isn't something that is being bestowed onto you. This comes through your conscious choice. Wanting to know yourself better, wanting to understand yourself better, becoming more real, and aligning yourself with your truth. becoming a true self. That requires tools. These tools, I've called them energy management. I teach them in a systematic way. By the way, absolute last minute, if you want to join our energy awareness course, tomorrow is the first interaction day, so you can still catch up with the lessons of the week, because we're not going to do the live training, the first live training, until tomorrow at noon. Yeah, so the energy course, systematic training of your energy awareness, vital to anybody who has the consciousness that you are bringing in, just due to the fact that you're listening to me. Okay, but besides that, it's really about your ability to speak truth, to live in truth, and to manifest in truth. And as most of you know, I know for the last 6 weeks or so I've been pestering you with this, but I want you to know how life-changing these courses are. There's a Love Integrity course starting next Wednesday, in which we fundamentally train living in truth, speaking in truth, manifesting truth in form of our relationships. Yeah, so building and rebuilding our relationship based on truth, basically based on this new paradigm of higher perception. Without this training, guys, you can still make it, but you will miss out on all these messages that you are getting, all the support that you're getting through your higher awareness. So we need to learn how to bridge this, and that's why the Love Integrity course takes a little longer. It's a 3-month course in which we learn this intellectually and at the same time practice it. Yeah, in study groups where we practice actually saying things, actually putting this into action, actually becoming real. Yeah, in this sort of group training setting. I can't even tell you how impactful these kind of trainings will be for your life. Now, I'm not saying that I'm the only one who offers those kind of trainings. I'm just saying that I happen to do this kind of work for a very, very long time, and that these courses are fundamentally summarizing everything that I have learned in the last 25 years about the true and deeper nature of our human psyche and behavior. Yeah, and you might ask yourself, well, she doesn't have a degree in psychology. No, I don't. I have a degree in chemistry and business and computer science. How does this go together? Well, in my world, in my new way of understanding myself, in my new paradigm, everything had to be exactly the way it was. I needed to explore these different aspects of science and life and coding things, yeah, to form basically, I'm not saying this is my own science, but basically my own rendering of this science of a new paradigm. Yes, and obviously I didn't make this up. Yeah, if you would have asked me 25, 30 years ago, yeah, I would have not agreed with you that this is something that I would do one day. But today, I can say this with confidence, because I'm not just doing this here on YouTube, on Skype, with people from all over the world, in courses and trainings. I'm also doing this in real life. I've built a school in which I translate all this into curriculums that prepare our future generations for this new paradigm. Meanwhile, still functioning, yeah, with the existing parameters of academic learning. All right, academic learning ultimately is a byproduct of higher awareness and higher learning. So, guys, if there's something that comes forward for you that you could have never imagined, that you could have never expected coming forward for you, maybe as a cue what you want to do. Yeah, maybe you want to become a dog trainer for emotional therapy dogs, or you want to work with horses, or with plants and hydroponics. Yeah, teaching others how to grow their own foods. I don't know what it is that is best for you. But I can tell you that you should expect the unexpected, because for you to evolve into this new paradigm will make you experience yourself in a completely different way as a true self. And will make you perceive the world and others also in a new way. You will see the true selves in others as well. And you will begin to understand the true fabric of what we call reality. And with this then, you will be able to discover the secrets, which aren't really secrets, of conscious co-creation, of conscious manifestation. Yeah, so chop chop, guys. This is a very fast moving week. You got a lot on your plate, and the way you're going to handle it is not by going harder or doing more, but by allowing yourself to review, revisit, reevaluate. And by allowing you or yourself to come to your own rendering of who you are, and plan the first step of putting it into action. Everything else comes after that. You don't need to have a fix. You don't need to know how to do this. You don't need to have a solution. You just need to consciously choose it. Choose whom you want to experience this life as, and do the first step. And your first step will be to clearly communicate this to whom it involves, and especially the universe. So one more time, if you haven't done your vision board yet, your vision board based on truth, okay, you haven't really understood how you can communicate this to the universe. You do this in imagery, yeah, not with intentions or resolutions. Those are mental constructs. The spirit being in you doesn't understand those. The spirit being in you understands you from your heart, and only through your heart, how you feel about something. The level of fulfillment, the level of love, truth, freedom, happiness, that can be understood by the spirit being in you. It thrives on that. It doesn't want to do anything more than support you on this endeavor. But if your vision of the future is some kind of external thing or some kind of thought up thing, you may not, or you may miss out on that support. It may just constantly feel like a struggle. Doesn't mean that you can't get there, but it will take much longer and will be less fulfilling. Yes. Yeah, well, wonderful, Syria. Listen to the energy prayer allowing. Yeah, last tip for you, if you don't have the energy alignment for January, we work through this here systematically every Wednesday, talk about the codes that are in there and, really what they mean for us. If you don't have that yet, then please subscribe to my email list. You get it with every email that I send out. And also check out my SoundCloud account. There is tons of energy prayers there, all free for you guys. You can work with these wonderful energy meditations every day, or if you prefer or like to augment your inner self-discovery journey with the presence of others, come to our daily Sacred Selves here free on Skype. All you need is a guest account on Skype, and you join these daily meditations sometimes twice a day, with others, random people from all over the world. And allow yourself to truly open yourself up for the new. No matter what comes our way here, like I've said, the next 3 years are going to be a lot of chaotic. Now the most of it will be done in 1.5 years, 1.5, 2 years, okay? But what appears to be this huge big change in your life, that is unfolded now here until 2026. So your job right now is to invest into that future and make sure that you use these times, these years, for higher learning. I see you again on Wednesday, and the full moon here, where all this culminates that I have just reported about, guys, where I predicted a 180-degree announcement from our governments. Yeah, so this will have already happened on Wednesday. I'm curious how it all unfolds, and I am willing to let it, just come forward, because I can rely on myself. I know that no matter what the challenge, I am in truth with myself, and therefore I can figure it out. I know how to listen to my heart. All I need is being communicated to me through that. I just have to make the time for it. I love you guys. Thank you for coming. Please share those videos and addresses and links and so forth, because this is what we all